Now then, my awesome viewers, it has been a minute, admittedly, since I brought any sort of content to the channel, but you will be glad to know that I am getting back to it, although very slowly. But if you have stuck with the channel in my absence, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your tremendous support. Now, the topic I would like to discuss with you guys today on the channel focuses on an area of bushcraft that has grown absolutely massively in popularity over the last few years, and that is prepping for a fantasy SHTF scenario. Now, some of you guys watching this video doesn't know what SHTF stands for. It's simply an analogy for shit hits the fan. That term is used when everything you find ordinary in normal life, going to work, going to school, spending money, time with your friends, all that stuff, simply gets tipped upside down on its head, and everything just becomes chaos and life threatening. Now, the prepper community isn't all doom and gloom, and they do have a fun side, a fantasy side. When you're building these kits, you can pretend that you are, prepping for a zombie apocalypse or a UFO invasion or the end of the world. But unfortunately, there is a very real side to it as well. And if you're from the country where I live, in the UK, you'll know recently there has been very small pockets of civil unrest erupting in cities, small towns and boroughs. Now, these are becoming more widespread, and going down the road, these are going to become even more so. So, my question to you is, how prepared are you for that scenario? I don't know where I'm going with that question, but I'm going to show you what I've got, and then you can compare what you've got, and maybe some of this that you'll see on the table here and on the shelves could help you in your future building of the zombie apocalypse SHTF prepping. Now, ladies and gents, the tools and gear displayed on the table in front of you is just a small collection of items that would prove themselves to be very, very useful in an SHTF scenario. Now, we are going to look at all equipment in detail for each area of the prepper scene. That includes home defence and hunting, affecting life with water filters, food procurement and storing, lighting, heating, communication and bartering. And as you can see here, we've got my co-host today, minding the silver, the vicious Eric. Now, before we go any further, please do take this video with a grain of salt. This is meant to be fun, and in this scenario, using these tools, we are prepping for a zombie apocalypse, and we never want to take another person's life. We have to exhaust all other avenues before even considering it. But if the threat to your life is imminent and immediate, these tools will help at least to preserve your life. Now, unfortunately, we are living in very scary times in the UK at the minute, and if you live here yourself, you know what I'm talking about. But it seems to be every month now we're getting news of a rape, a murder, or a stabbing happening in public, and it's becoming all too frequent. Now, the victims of these attacks, be it children, women and men, were all helpless at the hands of their attackers. Now, I'm not saying that you should start carrying other objects around with you to protect yourself, as again that can land you in very hot water with the law, especially if you're carrying things like these. This is going to get you jail time straight away. And knife crime is absolutely rife in the UK at the minute, mainly carried out by cowards, but that doesn't mean to say we can't protect ourselves in our own homes. Now, I will also say, if you buy any of these items on the table with the intent of using them in a home defence scenario, then you will be getting a visit at your door. But as you know, my love of bushcraft allows me to have these items, and that is why I buy these. These are for hunting. This is just because it looks absolutely amazing. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But having these items in your home can aid in, again, protecting you and your family in the case of a SHTF scenario. Now, first of all, let's go over ranged tools for your personal protection at home of you and your loved ones. Now, if you are a UK citizen and you are an air rifle enthusiast, you will know the power limit on these rifles is sub 12 foot-pounds, meaning that anything higher than that, you'll require an FAC license, because that will be then classed as a firearm. Now, if you are unlucky and you do find yourself in the unfortunate situation where you're having to protect yourself and your loved ones against an armed aggressor in your home, we do have a couple of less lethal ranged options on the table here to look at. The first one being one of my favourites. This is the BRK, or the Brocock XR Ranger. This is a stealthy looking air rifle, chambered in 2.2, side lever action, and this is shooting at around 10.5 to 11 foot-pound with my desired choice of pellet. Now, you would hope Looking at this, just by pointing this at someone, that would be enough to demotivate their attack and send them packing. The unfortunate truth about using a UK air rifle in a home defence situation is, honestly, there's just not enough power in these things. If you hit them in the leg, or maybe in the face, bare skin, or a lightly covered limb, it might do enough just to stop them, or make them at least think twice about what they're doing. But you're better off clubbing someone with this than actually using it. If your aggressor is heavily dressed or heavily clothed, shooting this at them is just going to piss them off, really. And again, they'll probably just take it off you and beat you to death with it. So, well, that being said, there are a couple of features that stand out on this model, which does make it quite effective in a home defence situation. With it being side lever here, it's a very smooth action. That's an 11 shot capacity mag there, and I can unload that in around 5 seconds. That's how quick this rifle is to fire off. Also, with this rifle being a TDR, which stands for takedown rifle, this does have uses in the grey man sort of mentality, if you know what that is, in the prepper scene. The grey man is a skilled person walking about normal civvies, not drawing attention to themselves but having the skills to procure life, you know, go find food somewhere. And with this one, this can be packed away to such a size that this will fit in a small satchel, such as my Helicon Tech Bushcraft satchel behind you. So very easily concealed, and it won't raise any eyebrows carrying that round in a small pack on the side. So that is one good feature, or two good features regarding this air rifle. Looking at another less lethal option, ranged tool, we have the Air Arms TDR. This is my Grail gun. You've seen this before on the channel. This is a bolt action air rifle. Again, shooting at around 11.5 foot-pounds with my desired pellet. This again is a TDR. It doesn't fall down as small as the Brocock, but you can remove the stock and the moderator on the front, and that sits nicely in a backpack style case. So again, you can carry this around when the dust has settled and you maybe need to get out and hunt for some food or something. This can be carried about and not raise too many eyebrows. This has been regulated, meaning I get more shots to fill. A fantastic rifle, absolutely love it. This is also very, very quiet. In fact, I'll just give you a demo of that. So very, very quiet air rifle, perfect for hunting. 2 mags on that as well. Right, so that is the less lethal options. Now to look at a very, very lethal option, which still makes me laugh and smile to this day. How these have not been banned in the UK is beyond me. They'll ban your knives, they'll ban you know, imitation guns, but something that is truly, truly capable of taking a life, still free to own. Not free to own, but still very legal to own. Ladies and gents, I would like to introduce you to the Revo 7 from EK Archery. This is a 7-shot semi-automatic repeating crossbow with a 120 pound limb on the front. We have a red dot sight and a 2x magnifier on the back. We have an AR-15 style stock on the back, which can be adjusted. And again, this is extremely, extremely lethal, magazine fed, which I'll demonstrate now. And this is kept under lock and key. That's purely for, you know, safety around the kids, because we'd have children here as well. But this is extremely lethal, extremely accurate, and I'll show you what that fires now. So there is the Revo 7 self-indexing magazine, as you can see there. These are the bolts, and if we open one of these up, these are heavy field bolts. Carbon shafts, rubber wings, extremely accurate, and these are bespoke to EK7. Absolutely amazing darts there. To load it, simply push that into the bottom, like so. To load it, simply take the magazine in from the left side, push that in, and that's seated. And then to cock it, which I'm not going to do because I can't fire it anywhere, the whole body moves forward, and you can do that in rapid succession, even with the 120 pound limb. on the front. This will fire at up to 250 FPS with end darts, and with the scope on the back, this will shoot accurately up to ranges of 50 yards. Proven by the awesome guy that is Jorg Sprave over on his channel. Now, if we know Jorg, if you know Jorg, you'll know that he's never content with what the manufacturer brings to his doorstep. He's always got to improve on that. And I've just shown you the field tips with these. But now he has further modified this crossbow into a 12-shot repeating crossbow with mechanical broadheads. That is absolutely insane, and I will be getting it. As soon as it's released, I will be having them. But again, this has not been bought with home defence in mind. This has just been bought because it just looks absolutely amazing. But, you know, it's in my inventory and it's there to be used if needed. No, I can't say that. And I bet Daryl Dixon wished he had one of these in Walking Dead. Now, we've covered ranged options for home defence. Now, I'm not going to go too far into the next one, self-explanatory. If you do have to get up close and personal to the aggressor, we've got axes and these carrot cutters and cabbage slicers and potato peelers. All useful. So now we looked at the good stuff and some of the options that could potentially save you and your loved ones' lives in an SHTF scenario. Let's look at some of the other gear that should be in your emergency kit. I wonder if this could be used. Oh, just lost all my staples. They're currently beating me around the head with a baseball bat. That could work. Staples. Now, ladies and gents, when we're prepping, we're not just prepping for home invasion attacks. We're actually prepping for any eventuality that could be construed as an emergency situation. These emergencies could be a grid down power outage, thunderstorms, floods, alien invasion. So, in the event of these emergencies, you are going to need a means and a way of lighting and heating your home and cooking and boiling your water. Now, the benefit of being a bushcrafter is you will have majority of this gear already in your arsenal, which is very helpful. If you are jumping on this video, you know, looking to start prepping yourself, hopefully this will give you some ideas of what you would need in this sort of area. So, starting with lighting, we have a couple of options over here. Just your standard flashlights. These are very bright. A couple of my favourites. Lanterns, again battery powered, and other various battery powered lanterns. Non-battery powered lighting comes in the state of these old-fashioned paraffin lanterns. These also give off a tremendous amount of heat. We also have the old Fjordhand lanterns there, paraffin wick, will give you again some nice light. And I'm very lucky to own the Winterwell iron stove. This will allow me to cook my food, light and heat my space. Fuels that you're going to be looking for. We have a bottle of premium bioethanol here. Methylated spirits. Some of you may also own a couple of gas powered cookers if you are camping enthusiasts. So these are from the single burner sort of camping stoves. Larger canisters like this, you can put a small burner on top of there, use that as an emergency stove. More fuel here. Also candles, very important. These are some very nice vintage ones from the 50s that I've never opened. But again, fantastic to have in an emergency, just to enable you to see what you're doing in that emergency situation. Always make sure these are powered. And again, you're wondering, in a power outage, what you're going to do if, you know, these aren't powered and you do need to power them. Well, always keep a couple of power banks, which can be included in this sort of area. Power banks like this to help keep your devices energized. I've got a larger Bluetti EB55 on the back, and another power station powering the camera behind the camera. So the missus has just walked in. I do apologise. Babe?
Yeah?
Shut up.
Sorry. Hi, darling.
Hi, darling.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm getting ready. I mean, this has gone to shit.
Has it?
Just chatting bubbles. Basically, I'll have police knocking on my door because I've been showing them out weapons. Like, use this if they come through your door, shoot them in the face, hack their head off. Not really. Biomass stoves. such as the Winterwell backpacking stove and the Ganesha stove, anything like that where you can have a flame to cook, boil, things like that, outside of your house of course, but you can use the small gas burners obviously for indoors, using caution. That pretty much covers that. I can't think of anything else I can show you, but yeah, just having these sort of items in your arsenal will help you cook your food, boil and purify your water, and just make the emergency a little more tolerable until things get back to normal. Very quickly, also touching on water purification and making water safe to drink to affect life. Intel have reached out to me yet again. This is the third unit from Hill. They asked me to test one more after a revised unit was sent out, and I'm glad to report this is functioning as it should. I've been using this over the last week and it has performed flawlessly. So I have, luckily for me, kept the filters from the other one, so I've got a couple of filters I can use, but this one is working. This works off battery power, off solar and off power stations. So the Hill water purifier. Communication, ladies and gents, in the event of a power outage or a grid down scenario, telecommunications may drop, meaning your mobile phone will be rendered useless. Having a couple of two-way radios on standby could be very useful in case of, you're having to get out to scavenge for resources, or just the ways of communicating when you're out and about. Binoculars, I would class these as observation and communication. If someone is actually out scavenging for resources, doing a bit of foraging, you could be observing the area where they are to let them know if there's any immediate dangers approaching their area or their perimeter, using the two-way radios. So these are buggered. The batteries last about 5 minutes, so I do plan on replacing the batteries on these to make them useful once again. But these were a freebie, and they have a range of around 6 miles, and they have been tested, so they are working, just not for long. In the prepper community, there is a big emphasis on bartering and bargaining in the event of a catastrophic economic breakdown, and that means when the economy does collapse, the money you spend daily won't be worth the paper it's printed on, basically. So you need another means of procuring items and gear for your personal use. Now, everything on this table can be used as a bargaining token, and some are more useful than others, but a large emphasis is placed on silver in the stacker prepper sort of bushcraft community as a bargaining token. Now, I would argue that this is your least favourable bargaining token, unless there is some sort of replacement monetary transaction in place, because there's not a lot you can do with a silver coin, is there? You can't eat it, it won't warm you. But in an effort to expand my sort of prepping gear and stuff, I have accumulated around 40 ounce of fine silver in fractional currency, Britannia's. We have a gold chain there as well, which could be used as a bargaining token, but I would say that these are probably more favourable options on the outside. Things like lighters, people will require these for lighting fires, things like that. Medicine, a massive one, massive trade item. Vaseline, again, can be used as fuel or just to keep your lips nice and supple. Simple things like candles, fantastic bargaining chip. Fuel for cooking, simple things like string, tools and tins of food. But saying that, I would trade one of these for one of these right now. Great swap. So now we've looked at some of the gear that is attributed with the prepper scene, we're now going to touch on another topic of discussion while stood here holding my awesome crossbow, and that is, should you bug in or bug out in let's say a total civil unrest, violence and looters on the street, kicking doors in, and all that good stuff. In my honest opinion, if you can make your home secure, in the first 24-48 hours you should be safe anyway, because the shock of stuff happening will just be confusion to a lot of people. So I don't think the rioting and the looting will start until at least 4 or 5 days into it. So you'll have plenty of time to barricade your doors, fill in every pot and bathtub and sink conceivable with water, and just making your home a safe haven. Why would anyone want to bug out in sort of an area where there's just pure violence, risk to life and all that? It just doesn't make sense at all. Where was that good up until? What? Babe, some of it were good.
And all that good stuff. People bang in your house.
And all that stuff we hope for as preppers. So my honest opinion, I think the first 24, 48 hours you're going to be safe. Again, anything that's going on is just going to confuse people rather than an immediate shock of, oh shit, the world's gone to shit. A lot of families, majority of families should have at least a week's worth of food in the cupboards and the fridges. And again, you've got plenty of time there to barricade yourself in your home, fill in every pot conceivable, you know, vial and bath and sink with water for safe drinking water. And I think you're probably going to be looking at total upset in about a week's time. So definitely bug in, just make your home as safe as possible and just prepare yourself as best you can just to ride the waves. Things I think I need to improve on or actually get hold of as part of my prepping plan. Food. Now, I did have a stockpile of food at the old address. Unfortunately, that was left behind. Me and my missus did make a concerted effort of collecting surplus tins of food, stacking them up and all that. Also, I need a small radio for emergency broadcasts if anything does happen. So fingers crossed, ladies and gents, touch wood, that these events never come to pass for your sake and mine. But unfortunately, the UK's population confidence in the UK government is rapidly declining and tensions are escalating, and I think it's only a matter of time until we do see civil unrest in the streets, especially if the UK government doesn't up their efforts to resolve our current situation. I'm just waffling now, I think. So, that's enough from me. I hope you've managed to take something from this video. It has literally took me all day. I have certainly lost my mojo, but I'm hoping to get back on the horse soon and everything will go back to normal. So, say what you will from this video. Hope you enjoyed the ranged tools, and I'll see you again. So, until the next one, you stay safe, and as always, stay crafty. I forgot that as well. See you again, guys. Bye bye.